And just like that, we're back. Welcome, everybody, to the Esports Rewind podcast. Me and Xan here, usually breaking down the best and latest in esports and gaming news. Hello!
Hola, Jake. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Xan?
You know, I can't complain. I think we got some good stories to break down today. So,
I think we usually do. And, with that, I'm just going to read off one comment from last podcast. Thanks to all of you guys who do watch.
See, I told you didn't want to lock it to 4 comments per episode.
We don't usually get comments are here and there sometimes.
True.
But with that being said, the best comment definitely from the last podcast. Longtime news fan here. Just wanted to say I love the content you guys provide. Xan is looking great with that hair. Jake, question mark, long neck as always. So I'm glad that we have some real viewers out there who just love us as a duo. So with that being said, you ready to break it down this week's Esports Rewind?
Let's get into it. Let's get it.
All right, let's roll with it. All right, Xan, I'm going to slap you with a heavy one early on. And it's a story that is really not all too surprising, to be honest, because we've seen it time and time again in esports. Ninja's racist accusation. I don't know if you had a chance to watch the clip with the video.
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah.
So if you guys have, I'll give them context and I'll shoot for your first response about this. We've seen a lot of frickin' accusations about this kind of stuff, not just this year in 2020, but throughout 2019. A lot of our stories revolved around players or creators or streamers saying stupid stuff.
Every 5 minutes, it feels like almost.
It was quite literally almost every week. You could really bank on a story out there of breaking down what you should and should not do as an esports player or streamer. On top of that, though, Ninja's latest one was, I would say, pretty subtle, not really picked up by too many things out there, because he posted the clip, though, to his own Twitter. For all of you guys who want background details, he was dressed up as a Fortnite skinned monkey. So everyone in his squad was actually dressed up as a monkey. Friendly came up that was not a part of their squad, and he was just waving, trying to be all friendly. Ninja killed him as a sneaky / devious monkey might. You can never trust a monkey. And then Ninja goes, "Never trust a monkey," and just a slew of replies and comments about this is the most racist thing I've ever seen. So when you first saw it, what were your thoughts about this?
I was like, I heard the news, and Ninja's been he's been very vocal lately. Let's say that.
I think it's a fair statement.
Yeah. And I figured, maybe he said one word too many somewhere. But the clip itself is very innocuous. I think a lot of it, this is just what you're going to get when you're somebody as big as Ninja, who does so much to put himself in the spotlight and acts like he's such Ninja likes to give off a presentation of being very pure and clean in a lot of ways, very family friendly. So obviously people are going to target him to say oh yeah, bad Ninja, no.
Yeah, it's super weird to kind of look at it from an outside perspective, as he's not near, he's still obviously one of the biggest faces in gaming, but not near as popular as he was probably early 2019, especially throughout that rise of Fortnite. I mean, it was unfathomable how popular he got. It's really weird to see yet again, whenever these players go on these rises and all of a sudden they have a little bit of a downfall, how people go from loving and hyping him up to every opportunity they get, they try and tear you down. And I think I fairly say that Ninja probably goes through that more than most. Although, to your point, he's also more vocal than most people who go through downfalls are.
I think he would have way less issues if he just learned how to, if he just got a third party, somebody, not him, not his wife, who I know Jess, I know you're his manager, maybe not you for this position. Get a third person, just look at his tweets rather, and say, hey, how are people going to respond to this?
Because to that point, the term monkey is a problematic term. Yeah. We've seen it in gaming and the community a lot. And it's not
very specifically the term monkey.
Yes, and it's never used in an okay way. It's never seen as, that's a good way to use monkey.
You're always walking the line.
You are always walking that fine line.
You're poking the bear when you use that type of language.
Yeah.
I mean, as innocuous as nothing as the word monkey, you could just be like, but I'm just talking about the animal. But let's be real here, guys. Our community, esports doesn't take that stuff
But then it's also it's super tough, because we've never seen a game where you can dress up as a monkey. And then, in this case, kill someone kind of like a devious little monkey, maybe betray your trust would. So it's super weird times, I would say. Obviously, he's not racist, at least in my opinion. There's still going to be people, no matter what, who think he is. Are we 2 for 2 on this? You don't think Ninja's racist quite yet?
Probably not. I don't know. I don't watch enough Ninja to be sure.
Okay,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh my gosh! No, you know what? Anyway. Next segment.
He says enough dumb stuff. Okay, Jake, so I want to talk about something that makes me super, super happy, actually, which is rare. I feel like I very rarely have stories that I'm just like, oh, this is just good.
I would say it's yeah. I don't really see you in the happy mood with these articles too often, so I'm excited to see what this is.
Yeah. This is for those of you who have not heard of the game, it is called Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. It is a fighting game that came out last year, very much on the low end. Didn't get a physical release at all. I'd say it's like, if your top tier Mortal Kombat and everything is like a AAA game, Power Rangers was a $20 downloadable AA game. But what makes the game interesting is that it was made by a former FGC pro.
Oh, I did not know that, actually.
Yeah. This guy named Clockwork, former Marvel vs. Capcom superstar, amazing player, right? He was the lead combat designer on the game. And they also got a bunch of other really, really smart,
That's actually really, really cool.
Yeah,
I don't think we've often seen pro players go elsewhere when it comes time for game development, or at least having a voice in a new game. So honestly, one of the first times you probably heard about this. A former FGC guy now helped develop the Power Ranger fighting game.
Yeah.
Which, albeit when you just hear the term Power Rangers, a throwback in itself.
Oh, absolutely.
Details. When did he start? What else do you know about this?
I don't know when he started with them precisely, but I do know that using his influence as a former pro, he also got in a bunch of other pros to come and like give critique and play test and everything. So the big names like Justin Wong and Combo Fiend were all there giving their opinions.
You should do.
And right? Just think, look. If you get pros,
Activision,
who know what they're doing, to come and help you make the game, then maybe the game will be really good.
And so, reviews so far, or
initial impressions from the community weren't like super glowing.
Yeah,
because the roster wasn't super small and it had some like network issues and stuff. But it was mostly technical problems, like the actual fighting game component. Most people really, really enjoyed it. And once again, it was only $20 for the game, so obviously a couple problems here or there. The good news is though, that Hasbro and Lionsgate have announced that they're running their own esports league for the game in 2020. Unlike Smash Brothers
and Nintendo.
Yeah, they're just like Hasbro. I think has been doing a lot with esports.
Have they announced a prize pool for this?
Not yet. They just announced that they're going to be. The league hasn't started yet.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have league events at other fighting game tournaments.
Probably makes sense.
Yeah. Actually, this is kind of the general pattern for fighting game events. Like for the Capcom Pro Tour, even like they'll say like, "Oh, we're gonna have a Capcom Pro Tour event that just so happens to be hosted at this other fighting game event that would normally happen throughout the year." Yeah. So it makes it easy for everybody to make it out. But anyway, I just think it's great that Hasbro, huge company, they are the people.
Sorry, keep on going.
They're the people behind Magic the Gathering, Transformers. My Little Pony. So
hype.
Yeah, right,
Hype.
right. And it's them and Lionsgate, who is the company that owns Power Rangers, I believe, who also I think they publish films and TVs.
Yeah, I think I definitely recognize the Lionsgate name.
Yeah. But this, I don't know how much money they're going to be throwing at the game, but I just think it's great.
Assume not much.
Probably a decent amount.
Probably better than most.
Yeah.
At this stage in fighting game community.
I'm just happy to see like such large brands getting more closely involved.
Yeah.
Especially with a game that very easily could have just come out and then died within 6 months.
Oh yeah, I think the first thing that comes to my mind when you say Power Ranger game would be like there's always a glass ceiling for how far it could go.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
the game doesn't look visually amazing. It looks more like something out of like 2014 as opposed to 2020.
But
it plays great.
And its progress and maybe towards maybe what other companies publishing or developing should do for their own games in the future in terms of providing for them and things that Nintendo are not doing. My main takeaway would be back to the player testing thing where you really actually have former pros getting involved into the development of the games. That's super cool because we've talked about how Call of Duty and Activision have really struggled with that. And in a recent video, it was actually a Hector Rodriguez podcast with Clayster. And Clayster's point was these COD games are in development usually a couple of years before they come out.
Yeah.
And they oftentimes they're not actually having players go and test the games. And so we see with Modern Warfare all the issues underlying, and Clayster's out there saying, yo, this game's been developing for 2 years now. Why do you not have players come out and say, hey, test your game and really unveil what could be the underlying issues. So to that point, it's super cool. And then you added the fact that a big companies are now throwing prize pools just for the heck of it.
Yeah, just to support it. Even with I don't think this game sold very well.
I was gonna say that'd probably be your motivation for most big companies to push their games esports wise would be more exposure.
Yeah. But at the same time, I'm surprised that they're willing to put their back behind this thing that didn't do very well.
Yeah.
You know, they were like, they're supporting this thing that didn't necessarily make a splash on the scene or anything.
And maybe it's a terrible move.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the saving grace of the game, even though a lot of people didn't like it on release, is that it's a really good fighting game. And that's I think 100% because of the fact that they had pro player involvement from day one.
And I hope we see more of that in the future and outside of FGC as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it'd be really cool to see what titles we get, especially as we progress through now the 16 to 24-year-olds.
Oh, bro, just wait until 5 years from now when all the COD pros are like, we're just gonna make our own game.
Oh,
we're just gonna
Infinity and Treyarch, whatever the combination might be.
Yeah, that would kill Call of Duty.
I hate to say it. Good luck though. That's a freaking empire.
I mean, it's an empire, but it's an empire that constantly has.
But it hasn't. It doesn't matter.
But it always has people at the door with torches and pitchforks going like, "We stop, fix it."
This is a different topic for a different time because we can go on forever about this.
Yeah. We could have the entire podcast. It could just be us talking about this. 100%. Yeah, it would be interesting to see.
Yeah, definitely interesting to see how a Power Ranger game does and how the esports also side of things is going to affect potential sales. And we'll see if it can actually last. All right, Xan, this is a follow-up from, I think, actually a couple months ago. We talked about the Chinese incoming social credit scores.
Ah, yes, definitely.
People probably clicked away right away, but it actually does involve gaming for all of you guys listening out there.
Very important. China is a huge gaming market.
Very, very important. Alongside that, Xan actually showed me articles of Japan doing the same thing when it comes time for limiting gamers with their playing time, correct?
Yes.
And we've actually talked about this a long, long time ago. We have a video on this as well, where China is trying to pass not only a social credit system, which is coming into play. Alongside that, though, some very strict restrictions on minors, that being anyone below the age of 18, and they were heavy restrictions. I unfortunately didn't look up the exact times, but it's like between so-and-so o'clock at night and pretty late on in the morning, you cannot play at all, and it limits, I think, like 1 to 2 hours of gameplay per day, or even more strenuous than that. It's very, very harsh restrictions when it comes time for 18 and under people to actually play video games. Oftentimes, the only time you can actually play for more than a couple of hours in the same day is on like holidays. It was super, super restrictive, and if you guys want those full details, we do have a video on that. But speaking of which, it's now actually a video I was watching about potential precautions and restrictions coming with this Chinese social credit system. Pretty much on a day-to-day basis, what you do over in China affects your social credit score, and that either comes with, if you have a higher credit score, more benefits, and if you have a lower credit score eventually, well, more negative side effects. And in this same video, they actually listed 2 potential sways to your credit score, which again could be also not only China, but also in Japan, one of which was playing too many video games. And second of which I think is very important and very, very likely is cheating in video games will affect your social credit score and the way that people in your community see you.
I can't wait for China's economy to just crash after they're like, you can't cheat in games anymore.
And all of a sudden they realize that they have like the most cheaters in the entire world.
Yeah, right. And then all of a sudden everybody's a criminal or something
But the first
obviously not everybody. Huge exaggeration. Yeah.
But even people from China have to admit, I mean, we've seen it all across forums in every game. China is a region known for cheaters, and you guys would admit it too. And okay, there are other regions as well. North America probably has plenty.
Absolutely.
But China's definitely known. And with that, the first thing that comes to my head is the video game movies out there where like you're walking around and you see people and above their head is like their score that pops up.
It's so good. I'm so glad we don't have like AR glasses.
Yet.
AR,
I think that'll be towards the tail end of our lifespan. But I think, I don't know. My first thought is, wow, that's super interesting. And then you have thoughts about how...
one word for it, yeah.
And then you have thoughts about how good it could be, beneficial for the esports and gaming scene, but also how terrifying it is. That what you do in the virtual world affects how people will literally act around you in the real world. It's kind of a scary thing to think about.
Yeah, I definitely think the whole social credit score thing escalates things like a little bit too far. Like, I don't think if you cheat in a video game that should affect your ability to get a flight out of the country or something, right?
True.
The two things should not be connected.
Yeah, if we're talking, that's a very good point. If we're talking real life repercussions, like even besides like not be able to fly, or maybe it comes down to like, oh, you cheated in a video game. Yeah, this this dish is going to cost you $6 and it's going to cost someone else $4.
Or like imagine trying to get an apartment, right? Because they do background checks
They
for
don't check your
apartments.
credit score.
Yeah.
Well, they do. They don't check your actual credit score. You know, in other countries, they check your social credit score. They're like, oh, saw you cheated.
Oh, I saw you were using some wall hacks. You sure not going to be trying to wall hack in your apartment?
Yeah, because I ain't going to sell you no walls here. That's for sure. Good luck hacking somewhere else.
Yeah.
That, again, it's a possibility.
Yeah.
Now, we also talked about in that video, though, there are workarounds. But when it comes time for, we were actually talking about workarounds for the restrictions of gaming times. What oftentimes we've been told by both sources and across all forums is people in the community or residents can actually take other people's identities and log themselves into these games under other people's identities, and therefore you bypass the restrictions. When it comes time for the social credit system, I don't know if that's exactly bypassable. I imagine there are workarounds, but it's probably a bit more restrictive than...
It'll probably be a pain, but I think of any community, the most capable of dodging this issue is definitely the gaming community. Because I'd say we're probably the most
savvy.
the most used to like spending so much time on forums and just finding a solution to an issue. As soon as one person has it figured out, everybody will have it figured out.
But we'll close on this. Imagine the first guy to get caught cheating.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And his social credit score just drops.
Imagine they don't tell people when it goes live, and they just catch everybody in a net, and you're just like.
And all of a sudden, people. But what?
Yeah.
What if it solves the issue? Like, what if people are like,
it's not worth it. Not worth it. I'd rather deal with the cheaters.
Really?
Yeah. 100%. I will take the cheaters over the social credit system any day.
But I don't cheat, so I'm thinking, this could benefit me. You know, it gets rid of cheaters. They all get lower scores. My score gets higher, and I benefit. That sounds selfish.
Think about how
take it back.
Think about how it could hurt us, though. China has the largest player base for a lot of games. How much of that player base is there because they can cheat, and how many won't play games or will get banned?
That is
or
a
will
weird
then
argument
drop
to
off.
make for a guy like you, because I've tried to argue the fact that all these games out there need cases, and they need like economies and gambling because players can gamble, and there are players out there who only play a game because they can gamble. Now you're trying to argue that we need the cheaters because they are also players.
Yeah, see, here's the difference in my arguments there. Okay, so loot boxes, right? We see loot boxes have a very clear negative effect on a lot of people in terms of like their actual life, right? I'm talking about actual life repercussions. I would rather have games not have a system in place that potentially leaves people in bad situations on both sides of the fence, right? I'll be there for the cheaters. I don't want them to suffer bad life stuff because of the video games, like actual life stuff.
This is a valid counter.
Don't want the same for loot boxes.
So you are basically your counter to me is that gambling, yes, they are a player base, but they're negatively impacting their own lives.
Yep.
As opposed to cheating, yes, they're also a player base, but you can cheat in a video game and it's not going to deteriorate your entire life.
I mean, worst case.
That's a fair point.
It makes things a little bit worse for the other person inside a video game, but then it still stays inside the video game.
I was feeling really confident until you brought that point into play. I love how we can just go off onto a tangent.
We
were talking about Chinese social credit scores, and now we're arguing again. But either way, you guys, of course, you leave your thoughts down below about this. It's going to be a wild, wild time these next 5 to 10 years, no matter where we end up, because this still could be a possibility.
Fascinating times.
Everything we just talked about could also be a possible road this goes down.
Yep.
China, terrifying. I won't even mention it. Tencent, how they're going to deal with this. God knows they'll be behind it somehow.
I'm sure Tencent has been in these meetings. I'm sure they've been in every single meeting being like, okay, so you're saying that you're going to limit the time, but can our games can we get like exclusive?
Can we maybe bypass that?
Yeah. Oh, whoa. What if companies what if companies get timed exclusivity for their games so you can't play some companies' games past a certain time, but you can play Tencent games?
We're getting way too deep. But if there was a company to do that, it would be Tencent.
It would be Tencent.
Because they would pay so and so many hundreds of millions, and all of a sudden between the hours of 11 and 5, you can't play any other video games besides Tencent titles.
The Tencent curfew.
Yo, we just figured this stuff out. Anyway, we're going to keep it going.
All right, next up, Jake. I know last week we had just talked about esports coming to IMAX theaters.
We sure did.
Yeah, so you might see esports events at a movie theater near you. Apparently, you might see esports arenas at a mall near you very soon.
Sorry for that noise, everybody.
Yeah.
It's
You sound very nonplussed by this information.
I'm just trying to think of the last mall I was in.
Yeah, exactly, right? I think, okay, so here's what's going on. Allied Esports, who is the company behind like so much in the esports industry, they run the HyperX, arenas, I believe. And, they basically partnered with the Mall of Georgia in Buford. And
the Mall of Georgia in Buford.
Yeah. Which apparently is a big mall in Georgia.
Sounds like a hot spot.
No, honestly.
You a gamer, you probably know a Buford.
Yeah, right. Apparently it's a huge mall though, right?
Okay.
And they're talking about taking 2 whole levels.
2 whole levels?
Yeah, 13,000 square feet for an esports arena to facilitate both amateur and pro events. Which is really, really interesting to me because I feel like a mall is a really good place for this because I don't have a reason to go to the mall most days.
Yeah,
right. I do most of my shopping online. I go to the mall maybe once or twice a year on Black Friday or for some special occasion like that.
Yeah.
But like something like this could be really good for the malls because it'll actually bring people like us back through where we can see the other stores and stuff.
For sure.
But it would also give esports like not a much more affordable option because I'm sure just having space in a mall is much cheaper than building out like a huge
brand new arena.
Yeah. We're hearing how much that's like causing problems for the Overwatch scene with them building arenas and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And I think this could just be Georgia's a great place for it.
I will agree to that.
Yeah, because they've got a very burgeoning esports scene and got the Atlanta FaZe down there now. They got a bunch of other teams.
Atlanta Reign.
Yeah.
Others as well, I believe. College programs too.
Yeah.
Is it sad? The first thing this is going to be sad. The first thing I think about is like bomb threats and gun violence threats that happen at these events, and all of a sudden you're shut down an entire mall because some idiot walks in and.
Yeah, but I mean that was going to happen at a mall anyway. If it was going to happen at a mall.
Yeah, I would need to know details though, because I think it becomes more frequent when you attach a gaming event to a mall. It just there are so many stupid people out there who love the attention.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But also, is it like do you pay to go into it because a mall is a pretty wide open scenario, or can bystanders just walk in and be like, "Whoa"?
They haven't given like super precise details, but if it works anything like Allied Esports, other esports venues, because they have multiple throughout the country, you will be able to just go in. And like, based on their description, they're probably going to have like just merchandise areas,
which is smart.
Yeah, they're going to have areas for people to just go and play esports games. I would assume,
like the arena out here in Vegas.
Yeah, which is also an Allied Esports thing, I think.
Okay, and that also holds events, but it's also mainly for you guys who don't know. HyperX Arena here in Las Vegas, they kind of have a dual take as a place where casuals can go to play games, but also they hold events. As well.
So I imagine maybe you'll have to pay for entry on the day that there's like obviously if there's like a huge event. You'll probably have to pay to get into the event, but you probably won't have to pay to get into the arena on a default level.
I'll say this.
Yeah.
I don't know how big the arena is here, but 13,000 square feet, I don't think it is. That's a lot of square footage.
I don't think the one here is 13,000 either.
I don't think so. It's actually relatively small, but it's probably bigger than I think. But I wouldn't even want to guess the square footage of that place because that probably sounds stupid. 13,000 square feet sounds like a gigantic.
Right.
You compare that to a lot of facilities that these organizations are opening. Like 100 Thieves and Liquid in them are definitely around 15,000 square feet. So it draws the same reaction IMAX does. We don't know until they operate and how that actually works out.
Absolutely,
we can speculate.
I think this is just I'm just happy to see this because I think I'm happy that companies are looking ahead to the future when it comes to infrastructure for esports. Because it's definitely not sustainable to keep building like 50 million, 100 million arenas that are just an arena that's just there. That maybe if there's not an event, what is the arena doing? Are people just going to show up to an arena on a Monday and just be like, just normally and casually?
Well, that's where I worry too, though, because like during the week, a mall during the school year from 8 to 5, who's going to be going to the mall?
You'd be surprised. You would be surprised. I mean, so I don't know.
My mall back home ain't that popping, to be honest.
Well, if you look around here, because we're kind of close to a mall type area, right? Even during the school year,
no, not from 8 to 3. No way.
It's still packed with people. I'm not saying kids per se.
He's lying for all of you guys listening. He is lying.
Absolutely, no, this is absolutely true.
What do you mean?
Yeah, There's tons of people walking around here all the time.
We defer.
Check out our Instagram. I'll post a picture on podcast day.
You show me outside
on a Tuesday.
Here, 3 o'clock on a Tuesday. Who is here?
We'll go stand out by the window. We'll just have I'm saying, rich mothers got kids.
Rich mothers are not. Yeah, in school.
Do you know how many are homeschooled? Do you know how many people are like, we got, all I'm saying, there's options here.
We defer. We
There's
defer on that.
here.
We'll see how it has to work out.
Mm-hmm.
My last thing is this. I don't understand why this is a thing. Like, does sports have this kind of things going around? Like, I've never seen a 13,000 square foot facility dedicated to watching the NFL or watching MLB.
To be fair, this will have like other stuff going on inside of it. Like they'll probably have a nice like bar or something, and like obviously they're gonna have like standard setups for people to just go and play. But obviously the difference with esports is that we're more of like an indoor, concise. Like you don't need a ton of space for a computer. Yeah. But I don't know. It's definitely not a thing in other sports, but I could see it working out well for us. Just to get more, because think about how many abandoned malls there are in America.
A lot, and for a good reason.
There's
because no one goes in them.
Yeah, no one goes to malls.
Especially between hours of 8 and 3 during the school week, during the school year.
Hey, maybe if the arena is smart, what they could do is just do what a lot of businesses do: open at 11 a.m. Do take care of admin stuff, business up until like those hours of like 2 or 3 when
still
people get out of school.
Bro. Still paying rent.
Yeah, still paying rent, but probably making their money in some way.
I don't know. We'll see.
I think it could work out.
We'll find out.
Yeah,
I don't think it will.
We'll see.
It won't.
Yeah. Hey, HyperX Arena here is surviving okay.
It's surviving. You use the word surviving.
Yeah. I mean, I heard Allied's happy with it, with how it performed in the last year.
I'm done arguing. We'll keep this up, and then we'll keep you guys posted on how it goes because we can continue on this for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And my last topic for today is going to be, I was going to actually turn it into, all these organizations moving into PUBG Mobile. We've talked way too much about them. So I wanted to kind of flash something off you.
Shoot.
And that question would be, and you guys listening as well, what game out there do you think supports its creators or its players the most?
In terms of what? Do you mean like in terms of like the developers
engaging
with the community?
I should have
promoting
clarified.
Creators, yeah.
So it's not in terms of presenting the best possible game or the best possible content. What game out there provides financially the best for its creators?
Like pays them the most?
Yeah.
Like their content creators.
Or creates the most ways to make money?
Probably would have to be Epic, I imagine. I would say either Epic or Digital Extremes. One of the two.
Before I get into why you said the correct answer, what is Digital Extremes?
They're the company that does Warframe. And
they have a nice reward system for...
Yeah. So like if a player makes like a really nice skin for a Warframe, they have a system in place where like they'll put it in their game on PC at least, and the player will get like a pretty large cut of all the profits from the skin. Yeah.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, they're creators. They have a creator program that I think the creators gets like some returns from, and bunch of like creator icons and stuff in the game.
I guess to get bounced off that, I think CSGO does a decent job, or Valve does a decent job. They do the same thing for their cases. Community presented skins are on the market all the time, and if Valve takes those community made skins, they give them a large cut of the case proceeds, which can be a pretty
lucrative. Yeah.
But it certainly has to be Epic Games, and I don't think there's any really comparison in terms of it's not even close, and that is based off just one fact, that being creator codes. And I bounce off a question again off you. When it comes time for creator codes, I'm just curious, will anyone else do this kind of thing in the future? And why are they not? Because I think Epic has done such a great job, especially with the most recent announcement of the Ninja skin. He's the first official Icon series to have his own skin in the game, and with more to come, you have to imagine he probably easily made 6 figures off that sole day. Today, this is a week pre-recorded podcast, easily made 6 figures, and going forward is probably making even more than that off his own individual skin. Besides all of that, they update their item store, all the time. And these creators who can stream or make YouTube videos or compete, all of their creator codes and a community supporting them, which we've never really seen in this level before. And so why are other games not doing this? Because if they do, let me jump on board. It seems to be very lucrative for so many people out there, and I've never seen it before.
I think some others do. I wouldn't have them off the top of my head, but I do recall a couple that have creator codes for YouTubers and stuff like that. At least. Yeah. In my mind, the reason why other developers may not is because I don't know how many communities are actually down for that, especially with how many online communities where the obviously each creator is going to have their own individual community within a community, right?
Yeah.
And I think outside of that space, in a lot of other games, what I see is like the community of people that just play the game and just enjoy the game. A lot of them have a lot of, I wouldn't say like hatred, but there's a general distaste for content creators in a lot of other gaming communities. Like constant complaints about, oh, content creator said this and then this happened. Content creator did that, or why is this content creator trying to act like they know X, Y, Z? You see stuff like that pop up constantly for Overwatch, for League, for Destiny even. Like I think they're probably trying to strike a balance in between not tying themselves too closely to the people who might like represent their game in some weird way, because in a way,
I guess that's a nice point, because then it's to some extent, if you have a highly controversial content creator, all of a sudden your game is rewarding that highly controversial person,
and the two are like connected.
Like let's say so and so from Overwatch or League of Legends, all of a sudden they're bashing the game, and there's going to be people against them and obviously people for them though, and all of a sudden they become known as a trash talker of the game, but they're also being rewarded for talking that trash because you're supporting them. It would be a weird dynamic, and I agree to that point. But also when you said like games like League of Legends, there are so many great creators out there, and you can imagine like a Mo from 100 Thieves or Pokimane, and there are Scara and the likes. Again, I'm not going to name all of them because it would take all day, but you would have to think that if done correctly, especially like around Worlds time, and obviously only the winning team gets World skins, but they could do so many things, because when it comes time for economy of in-game skins, it's probably Fortnite, then League of Legends, who does it best, and then Smite does a great job too. I don't know. I find it curious.
Shout out to all 5 Smite fans out there.
I just find it very curious that more developers or companies out there aren't trying to do that same angle, and I'm very interested at what their main reason would be.
Yeah, I'd be curious to hear from an actual dev on that front too.
What they're trying to avoid.
I'm glad that they don't, because I feel like it would get annoying real fast.
If everyone did it,
it's already kind of annoying with Fortnite people.
That is,
like, because everybody just like their Twitter handle is like
Coach Way.
Yeah. It's all stuff like that, and I'm like, I don't care. I don't know you, my guy. Like, stop, go away. Like, and if it was everywhere, I just feel like it'd be like 5 times worse, and. We'd probably hit a bubble real quick where everybody would just have to stop.
I think it's super interesting, not only that others have not taken it on, but also the kind of the thinking behind Epic Games doing this. Because the more you think about it, Fortnite it's certainly had its gigantic rise. It's still going to be a big game no matter what happens. But during its fall now, you're going to see a lot of people not want to stray away from it, even if they don't enjoy it, because they have so much financially relying on it.
See, and that's 100% of the reason why I think Epic did it in the first place.
They get people invested by investing into them without even their own money. Like it's a cut of the proceeds that the people are spending, and you're latching on to your creators and saying, yo, you go somewhere else, there's not codes for you.
I mean, there's a reason that Epic Games is doing this right now of all times, where Fortnite is kind of on a slight decline, where all of a sudden,
right. Oh, a creator skin.
Yeah, hey, creator, promote your new skin to people, and maybe they'll come back to the game and try the skin, and then if they come by the skin, they'll want to play and use the skin, obviously.
And now you have it where Ninja's not going to want to stop playing, even though that is by far and away his main game. But as they slowly release more and more of these creator skins, you're going to see a giant push at first, and probably, I mean, I don't know how long that push is going to last, how long, but especially when it comes down to people who are already borderline quitting, but it's definitely going to keep them going for a bit longer. And so I think I don't know, it's super weird to me that they are so clever.
Just watch them, like say a year from now, they could take some gaming guy or girl who doesn't even play Fortnite and say, hey, we made you a Fortnite skin, come play with us.
Now, and then that's just
a fresh influx. That's a fresh audience that all of a sudden might be kind of interested.
Like, Dr. Disrespect will eventually get an official skin. There's already one that looks like him, but it's eventually going to be official, and he hates the game. Like, he doesn't play it that often. We all know that. So I think it's going to be very weird, the moves they make. And definitely to your point, the timing of this, they've had creator codes since the dawn of time, but especially as of recently with this Icon series, it just makes sense.
But if you think about when they implemented creator codes, Fortnite wasn't that big.
But and then once they did...
And then once they did, it blew up, which I'm pretty sure is why they introduced creator codes in the first place.
Did we just crack the code to why Fortnite was successful?
I'm sure it was a big factor.
But then why are other games not looking at that and saying, why don't we do it? Is it because it makes a bubble?
Well, to be fair, I think a lot of other games don't want to like aggressively push their cash shop in the same way that Fortnite does.
Yeah.
A lot of other games will be very quiet about like, hey, yeah, we've got our microtransactions over here.
You're right.
Yeah.
No, dang, this is because it's weird because Epic Games can flaunt their item shop as much as they want, and you will never hear backlash.
I try to look like for articles on the website. I try to look through like their Twitter account to find like announcements of like an event or something, and it's all just cash shop stuff. They barely promote in-game events publicly, just cash shop items.
And they can release so many skins.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, if Smite, back full circle, Smite releases like 2 skins in the same 2-week span. Everyone from the outside is like, what? Just freaking high res cashing out here.
Trying to make money off the community.
Meanwhile, Epic Games dropped a dozen skins at a time. It's wild. Epic Games is wild. They can seem to be very smart, and we'll see how these whole creator codes affect the game in the long, long term.
All right, Jake. Our next topic is going to be a little bit of a weird one, a little bit outside of our ballpark, actually, for both of us.
We got, no mean to brag, we got a pretty large ballpark.
Yeah, which is why it's wild that this is so far outside of our ballpark.
Oh gosh, it's definitely going to be outside of mine.
Yeah, it's just super weird, and I don't understand it fully. That's why I wanted to get your opinion on it.
Because my opinion sometimes matters.
So, Complexity, one of the biggest esports orgs in the world. I love Complexity.
Okay, all right. You started off with a statement.
Yeah.
There's going to be plenty of people.
I'm not saying they're the biggest. I'm saying one of. One of. I'd say that I'd say that's arguable.
Is it?
As a point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not according to Forbes.
I'm not saying Forbes. I mean, come on.
You say Complexity, people know who you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. And they as such, they have teams across a broad variety of games.
Weird variety.
Yeah, exactly. Let me read you off some examples real quick.
I already know it's going to be so weird.
We've got CSGO, FIFA, Rocket League, Fortnite, Madden, Apex, Hearthstone, Clash Royale, Magic the Gathering Arena, and now they have a competitive North American World of Warcraft team. PvE, mind you, not PvP.
I think, to the point, I am pretty sure PvE is actually the way to go when it comes time for guilds in WoW. We're probably going to reach some critics out there, but I believe that's the most notable of them as PvE guilds and not PvP.
I suppose so. Yeah, I don't know.
But that list, now, mind you, to be honest, I didn't know they had teams in all those esports.
Yeah. Neither did I until I looked it up, and I was like, wow, that's a long list.
I knew of CSGO and Rocket League and those, Fortnite, I guess, but those are actually some pretty competitive titles. I would say a wide variety of smaller titles, which is definitely weird. But of the entire list, I was waiting for you to say the weirdest one. Yeah. Which is definitely
World of Warcraft.
Wow, yeah. And that was very recent. This is a pre-recorded podcast, but that was a day ago or 2 ago by the time we record this?
Yeah, I saw. Actually, I don't think they picked the team up last year, actually.
What?
Yeah. Because I found out about this a couple days ago because Jason Lake made some random tweet about World of Warcraft or something. And I was like, let me see what's up here. And it went back to this one guild called Limit, who is the team picked up by Complexity. Yeah. So now they're Complexity-Limit, which is just weird from a naming perspective. But I was like, so what does it make sense here? What is the play here for Complexity? How are they expecting to profit off of a World of Warcraft team? Because World of Warcraft doesn't have a lot of events.
Not many at all.
Yeah. They're not they don't have too much going on.
I'm not going to pretend to know all the events they do have, but it can't be that many. So did you look up the reasons as to why?
I actually looked into this quite a bit because I was very curious. So not only is Limit one of the biggest guilds in World of Warcraft, apparently, they also have a Red Bull sponsorship and a bunch of other stuff, right?
We can't even get a Red Bull sponsor. We're making fun of WoW guilds and they got better sponsors. What the frick?
Right. So basically there's 3 main events, apparently, the World of Warcraft guilds participate in. There's the Arena World Championships for PvP, which is 3v3 PvP. And then there's the Mythic Dungeon Invitational, which is to my understanding, it's players running through a dungeon and finishing objectives, and teams compete to see who can do it faster. And then there's also the Race to World First, which is for raids and stuff.
Is that the biggest one? There's definitely...
Yeah, as far as, from my understanding, the Dungeon Invitational and the Arena World Championships are the 2 big ones.
Okay.
They have events for those at BlizzCon, apparently. And For real, for real.
We'll
get into that a little bit more in a second, because there's drama in the WoW community.
Oh, you love to see it.
Yeah, right.
And this is why they got signed.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. But apparently, the Race to World First is like a huge event for World of Warcraft.
I feel like if there's any event that I've heard of, it's that one. And I want to say I've actually heard of the top teams. You know, I think there's one we sound so
the dominating one is called Method.
Okay, that's what I heard of.
Yeah,
I didn't want to say it too
yeah.
soon.
Yeah, Method was the one that's been like Method and Limit. Is by my understanding. Once again, I'm not a WoW person. By my understanding,
Pretty sure I put money on Method last time they had this event, and I won. Because I'm pretty sure they always use.
Yeah, they took first for like years, and Limit was usually second.
Okay.
Yeah, and Method also has a Red Bull like deal apparently. Anyway, yeah, this is such a big event that Limit and a bunch of other guilds like actively like they've got partnerships with like TV networks and everything to broadcast this and Twitch and stuff.
What the frick am I doing in my life?
Yeah, right. It's huge.
The things I don't know about are there's so much. There's so much.
Yeah, and I'm just here thinking like, oh, this is a bigger community and scene than I thought of from an esports perspective, even if it's not directly, in the vein of traditional esports. It is still very. They get huge viewership numbers. Yeah. They get tons of people interested. And honestly, if I was going to pick one of the esports that probably has like the wealthiest fan base, I'd say it's probably World of Warcraft.
Yeah, your money spent per capita per player is probably pretty high when it comes to WoW, especially the players that are still playing. So I would agree with that.
It's probably like long-term fans who are at a point in their life where they have disposable income.
Yeah.
And they can afford to drop money on WoW. And anyway, so what just came out literally 30 minutes ago is that Limit will now be hosting their Race the World First event on the 28th of January, I believe, inside of the Complexity GameStop Performance Center.
Wow.
With a bunch of other guilds also going there.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Because that's what draws the major viewership. I think most of them do stream on Twitch as well, and they'll stream the entire thing.
Yeah, inside the Complexity Center.
But brought to them by the Complexity HQ or facility?
Yeah, yeah.
That's a very, very interesting thing, and I hope to God they have the internet capable, because you can already. Oh man, the pessimist in me is like, oh God, all the biggest freaking guilds in the world go down because they're all at the same facility, and some random small guild is like, let's go.
I'm sure if there's any place that has like the infrastructure for that, it's probably that performance center.
I would hope so.
Yeah, yeah.
You would really hope so. Which, by the way, isn't GameStop a part of that facility?
Yeah, it's called the GameStop Performance Center.
Wow. Watch it all just go downhill, and all of a sudden GameStop tanks even harder.
Right. Their stock goes down to like $1 or something.
God dang.
Yeah.
They definitely, before you get into your second point there, definitely it makes a lot more sense based off the viewership and the exposure around it. And I'm sure they maybe picked them up for a decent price. To keep people in mind as well, when we saw this post just a couple of days back, it was clarification as well. There were other top orgs who were looking into these guilds.
Yeah, I think in that original tweet thread, I would have been going through it, like it was saying that Limit had chosen Complexity because Complexity made the most sense for them as like a team.
Jason Lake gave them a speech. Yeah. And that speech apparently had won them over. It also mentioned there were at least a couple other top tier orgs that had offered these guys.
Yeah. So I'm wondering was Liquid out here trying to be like, hey, World of Warcraft guild come through?
You'd have to think there are other North American orgs.
Yeah, probably.
So
this is a very specifically an NA team.
Liquid, maybe Cloud9, maybe TSN. I don't know. So I wish the news broke on who else was going after these guys and why all of a sudden this is the move to make.
Right. And in 2020 of all years, like I looked into it, there aren't a lot of other guilds that are signed to orgs.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell, Method isn't technically signed to an org. They're just their own thing, chilling. Like, so I don't.
But there's definitely also an org Method. I think there's a Method org anyway, but I know they're not affiliated if they are. So
I don't think so. Yeah, but anyway, so and with this Race the World First event, apparently they're like really grinding. The press release I just read said they're going to be streaming for 16+ hour days for 10 days.
Jesus Christ.
Which is like, wow, my God.
The most viewership Complexity's going to have for a long time.
Right. It's insane. But anyway, to get a little bit of the drama from the World of Warcraft esports scene so we can know what's going on there to some extent. At BlizzCon of last year, that being 2019, where there was already a lot of drama around the whole, Hearthstone situation, the rough esports moment.
Yeah, that happened last year. That was crazy.
Right. Apparently, Blizzard implied that by buying specific items from the Blizzard store, like some toys, a portion of those proceeds would go into, the number being 25%, would go to the event prize pool.
Now we're
right?
talking. Now we're talking. That's a very common model, and
Yeah.
especially when it comes time for like PUBG and stuff, we're seeing it more and more frequently. In-game sales, a portion of that goes to the actual prize pool for the event.
Yeah, and
Now we're talking.
traditionally, the company puts in a little bit of their own money too. Like they either match it or they say, "Oh, we'll match up to a certain amount" or X, Y, Z. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's what Blizzard said. They said,
Oh, frick.
"Yeah." So I'm going to read you two separate statements from Blizzard, and I'm going to tell you what people thought about them. Right? For a limited time, every purchase of the Transmorpher Beacon or Lion's Pride and Horde's Might fireworks, 25% of the proceeds will contribute toward the year's finals land event prize pool for the Arena World Championship and the Mythic Dungeon International, with a guaranteed minimum prize pool of 500,000 USD, 250K for each event. Your support will help take the WoW Esports prize pool to the next level. They also said, aside from that, a portion of the sales of these toys will contribute to the prize pools of both WoW Esports programs. And so by reading, if you hear that, you assume Blizzard is putting in money, and they're also saying 25% of whatever the audience spends will go towards the event as well.
I heard about this controversy.
Yeah.
Blizzard's not putting any money in
They didn't put any money in.
because
They
they broke the 500K just via sales, correct?
Yeah, the community raised $660,000.
Which means they raised
They spent
$2.4 million?
Yeah, roughly like $2.4 to $2.6 million worth of like purchases in the Blizzard store to get that like $660K, and then Blizzard was like, "Psych, you hit the 500K, so we're not doing anything."
Oh my! And this is, I believe,
Yeah.
that's actually an older story, right? Because I think we actually heard about this. but
Yeah,
now
this
it's
was
full
from
circle.
BlizzCon, yeah. And it's just like wild to think about, like, wow, Blizzard, they could have had an easy way to support the scene, to say, hey, we're doing good things for the scene. And this makes me wonder how, because Blizzard also announced that they're bringing back StarCraft 2 and Warcraft 3 reforged through ESL. And I'm wondering if we're going to see problems there too, because clearly Blizzard doesn't. I mean, if you look at the Overwatch League,
It's been a year of
They're
Blizzard
struggling.
choices. We could literally have a dedicated video of the biggest mistakes that Blizzard has made throughout 2019 and so far 2020.
we
'cause
could
it's-
just say the biggest mistakes from a developer in esports over the past decade, and it would just be a list of what did Blizzard get up to.
Blizzard and Activision would both be up there.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
They're the same company now,
I
so
know.
I mean, good to good.
Probably number 1
Yeah.
through 5.
Hey.
But hey, that's super cool news,
Yeah.
and especially when it comes time for the future of like, WoW players are now considered. Yes, they've had their esports, but definitely
Yeah.
not that many events. You can now play WoW for a few people out there as the top guilds are being signed to tier 1 organizations.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see if any other orgs go after other WoW guilds.
And copy complexities move.
Yeah.
And if it will be like the top of the top, the Liquids and the Cloud9s or TSMs.
Yeah, I wonder if this means we'll see like a resurgence of World of Warcraft as like a primary game for a lot of people.
If Blizzard's not willing to put more into the esports themselves without
Who
tricking
knows?
people, I don't know.
Who knows?
We don't know, but we're going to find out sometime
Yeah,
soon.
we'll be keeping an eye on it.
WoW guilds are now tier 1 esports. And there we have it there, guys. That was the Esports Rewind podcast. We hope you guys all enjoy. Xan, do you have anything to tell the people?
You know, just one or two tiny little things. Kind of important, though. If you want to listen to the Esports Rewind podcast, that's us on the go from Esports Talk. You can check us out on the Prediction Esports Talk Show Network. Got the nice little sign here on the desk that is spelled PREEDC. I messed it up. It's a long name. I apologize. That is spelled PREEDICTION.
Imagine messing that up.
Prediction. Yeah, right.
God, it's like the frick, dude. That's
Yeah,
the outro.
I made it like.
I think that's the first time you've actually messed it up.
Yeah, normally I get it in one. Well, you know.
Made it 30 plus episodes.
Yeah, first time for everything, you know? I'm happy it happened. But anyway, yeah, you can find our content there as well as some other great esports type podcast. You can also find all of our content on YouTube for all of you audio listeners out there at Esports Talk. Look us up. We have tons of great esports coverage almost daily. Actually, we are daily. It is kind of wild how much content we put out. So, you know, we got stuff for you. Anytime you're in an esports mood, we've got you covered. Also, if you are listening right now and you'd love to let us know what you think, you can drop a comment down below, or you can hit us up on Twitter at talk_esports. You know, we're also on Instagram, and surprise, surprise, we will be on TikTok very soon.
Yeah.
Theoretically, as soon as today.
Yeah.
We start pushing
Which
content.
means a week ago.
Yeah. So there should be TikTok content there for you right now. Just look us up, Esports Talk. Anything you'd like to say to the good people out there, Jake?
Don't judge the TikTok content right away, guys. It's an expanding social media platform that we'd like to just give a little twirl. So don't judge. If you want to see more behind-the-scenes content, expect that as well.
Expect tons of Jake singing and the Pokemon dance.
There will be a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff coming, guys. We're figuring things out slowly but surely. So. Thank you, all of you guys who watch, who leave comments, who like, who subscribe, who listen to my voice and Xan's voice every single week.
Yeah.
And Nick's voice. Until next time, we hope you guys all enjoy. Same day, same time, every single week, the Esports Rewind podcast. We'll be back here next time, okay? All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.